A failed website, millions without insurance, and nothing but lies. Scrap the whole thing, right? Not according to my next guest. He says Republicans need to fix Obamacare, not destroy it. With me, economist and author Ben Stein. All right, Ben, why would Republicans want to try to fix this mess?
Well, I don't mean to fix it in the sense of going in there and unscrewing under a whole bunch of bolts and nuts and rewiring things. What I think they should do is do what Mr. Nixon did long ago, which was to say, look, it's a moral imperative that all Americans have access to health care. That said, we're not going to take the existing healthcare system and smash it to pieces with a hammer. We're going to take a census of the Americans who cannot afford healthcare insurance, and we're just going to write them checks so they can buy a minimally adequate policy from Prudential or Aetna or Blue Cross or somebody else who sells health insurance.
I love it. I love it. But we're writing them checks from where?
Well, we're writing them checks from the imaginary money that the Federal Reserve pays for the bonds that the United States government issues, same as all the other hundreds of billions of dollars of deficit. I mean, we're living in a play money world. We're living in a Weimar Republic play money world already, so we'll live in an Obama economic play money world a little more. But look, we had a good plan there under Mr. Nixon. People always say to me, what would Nixon do about this? What would Nixon do about that? We had a good plan. We're going to take that little percentage. We're not going to screw up the insurance policies of those who do have decent health insurance. We're going to take the small percentage who can't afford it. We're going to give them checks. We're not going to have a huge government bureaucracy to handle it. You just go to your insurance agent, buy the policy, bang, that's it. We write you a check, garnished, it's done.
All right, Ben Stein, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
That's it?
That's it, Ben. Unless you're going to write the check, that's it. But it's good to see you.
Okay.
All right.
Nice to see you.
With me now is North Carolina Congresswoman Renee Elmers, herself a registered nurse who happens to be married to a doctor and who is now in her second term as a congresswoman. All right, Congresswoman, can Obamacare be fixed?
No, it can't, because it's fundamentally flawed.
Why?
You know, we've heard the promises have been broken, but it was never, ever created on a fundamentally structured format. It was basically put in place depending on one group paying for another group and trying to cover all pre-existing conditions. It's too difficult of a job. It never should have been put forward the way that it was. And had it been described the way that it is playing out, it never would have passed.
Well, had they been truthful about it, I mean, I'll be a little more blunt than you. It appears that 57% of young people between the ages of, 26 and...
like 18, 26-year-olds.
Oh, right. They're not interested in this at all.
No, they're not. And the reason is because they're young, they're healthy, and they're looking at taking their money and putting it towards other issues. They're healthy. They go to the doctor rarely. So what we need to do for young people is have them on a plan that would cover them if something terrible happened, but allow them to put money away pre-tax so that they would be able to plan for the future, not force them to buy something that they will never use. That's part of the reason it's so expensive, is we're having to buy essential health care benefits. Young men are having to buy maternity coverage.
Yeah,
older
and so
couples,
we're postmenopausal women. I've gone through this mantra. My viewers have heard it before.
You know, and it's just outrageous.
One of the things that I found fascinating, Congresswoman, is that you said that talking about the war on women, we should look no further than what this administration, the Obama administration, is doing to women. What do you mean by that?
Well, the thing of it is women in this country, we women make the health care decisions. Over 80% of the health care decisions that are made in this country are made by women. So that means that women in this country chose those health care policies that are now canceled. They chose those for their families because they were affordable, they were appropriate, they gave them the health care coverage that they needed. The Obama administration has come in and said it wasn't adequate, it wasn't good enough, and we know better for you and your family than you do. That's a real war on women.
That's a very interesting, take on the issue, because the truth is that women are generally the ones who make these decisions. And as you say, the president coming in and saying, no, we want a different plan for you. Why does this administration continue to lie about these issues? I mean, I don't care whether you can keep your health care plan or, oh, by the way, it's only a few who have personal insurance. Now we know it's employer-based. And why?
Well, because they have an agenda. This is something that the president wants very much. This has been a long-term goal.
You know, to be fair, is it a good thing? I mean, you know, to include everyone in health care, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to make sure that every American can have affordable health care.
So how do we do it?
There have been needed reforms for so long.
How do we do it?
Well, let me give you a good example. One of the things that I support and I helped to work on was the Republican Study Committee plan, which puts forward all the health care issues and coverage that we need. But we'll keep it affordable. We'll keep it patient-centered so that it's between the patient and the doctor, not the federal government or a federal bureaucrat making those decisions for you. So basically what we need to do are a series of things. Make insurance competitive, be able to buy insurance across state lines, be able to put money away in a pre-tax health care savings plan. If you're an individual buying health care coverage, you should be able to do that when you receive a tax credit, just like big business does.
Congresswoman, then why do you think that this administration fought so hard and lied? I mean, the president has paid a big price for this. More than 50% of the American people don't think the man is trustworthy.
Well,
okay, but given that, why would they? What was the incentive for them to get the federal government involved?
Well, I do believe that that has been the issue all along, that the federal government would take over health care. Health care is about 7% of the economy, and when you include, you know, health care insurance and all the other aspects, it increases by a large portion. This is about government control. This, again, gets back to the same issue of the federal government knowing better for you and your family than you know for yourself.
Okay, you know, I get that, but not only are they knowing what's good for us, but now they know everything about us. You got the NSA, you know, and now you've got the health care. I mean, they know, you know, who's got this infection and that. What's happening?
Far too much information. We need the federal government out of the way. We need the federal government out of every family's life.
Are we too far gone?
No, we are not. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing the American people standing up. You pointed out 50%. It's 52% now say that Obamacare should be repealed or replaced. I'm all for that. Let's move forward with a real plan of action for health care reform. Let's delay this whole thing. You know that big business has a delay now. You know that small business has a delay. But individuals who are being thrown
we're not
out
going to start on that.
Thank you.
Anyway, Congresswoman Renee Elmer, it's good to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
And coming up, another American killed in Benghazi. Congressman Peter King on the search for answers. And don't forget to vote in tonight's Insta poll. The president says Obamacare is fixed. Can we believe him? Facebook or tweet me at Judge Jeanine. And stay with us. I'm going to talk about that Boston bomber. Wait till you hear what I have to say about him.